here in West Montgomery County, 3.5 hours into our ride, and we just decided to get some clips. Very mild day, feels like we're in San Francisco.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, rolled into the woodlands. We went through Sterling Ridge, Branch Crossing. We got on Fish Creek, headed out into Honea, past Keenan. We took Adui and went on Keenan Cutoff, Springbranch Road. All of that is off camera. We started filming after we passed Montgomery. So on 149, we turn on the camera all the way up to Bethel through the forest there. Then we turned off the camera, came down Bethel Road. We took 1097 back towards Montgomery, and we backtracked on Lone Star Parkway there, Springbranch Road. We filmed Springbranch Road, and then once we got into Keenan, through Grand Lake Estates, and on our favorite road, Keenan Cutoff Road, we filmed that back into town. And I think that you will like the clips we got for you. It was a very interesting ride. We're pretty much coming down from a busy week, and so it was cool to see that we were able to get 7 hours in.
It's about 19 Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit thereabouts. Look at my brother's kit. We got the Souke jersey going. Another piece we got from Souke Sports. We got lots of food and this nice, cool weather. So we're going to get the K's in, and we're taking you guys along on a ride.
We're a little north of West Montgomery Park in Montgomery County, Texas. We're in the northwestern part of it. And the duration is just started because we just started filming, but we're 3.5 hours into the ride. It was one of those rides where we had a crazy week, and I really didn't get on the bike since the prior Sunday. So I wasn't sure how my body would feel. So usually it takes a few hours before I start finding some souplesse, so to speak. So we decided to turn. We decided to turn on the camera once we got past Taco Corner, and you hear the wind. We're going into the wind, and we just decided we were going to make our legs hurt. In fact, I rode with Mo and them on Sunday. Well, Mo came to the Team RR group with Jesus and Peter. And
we're in one of the lumpiest part of Montgomery County, 149 North, just outside of downtown Montgomery.
So
the
Sunday ride was such that my legs were just not cooperating, and I had trouble finding my rhythm on one stretch where Jesus was really pulling at a good pace, coming back on Springbranch Road. It's like a false flat, and I just could not find my rhythm. So I hit what they call a spot of bother there. But I was able to recover. More pulled a little bit. Jesus came, gave me a wheel, and within about maybe a minute or so, I was feeling better. And so it was a good ride. We rode back in. Everybody took it easy, I guess.
Road in a few kilometers, it just becomes like a little wall, and you have to really watch your gearing. Probably about 2 kilometers up.
Yeah, you'll see it. There's a part of this road where it just is truly ninja grade. 4 or 5% looks flat. But what I was saying was, on Sunday when we got back on Honea, Egypt, on our favorite road, which we filmed today, there's a bump at the end, and people get excited back there. Even more said, "Oh, everybody, I kept it under control. Everybody behaved themselves." Basically, that's what he said.
Our goal today is working on our base. We had a very crazy busy week. So we're trying a new training block here. We're just going to start. Most of this ride will be top of zone 2.
Yeah, when you miss a lot of training, don't go and go full gas after time off. Give yourself some rides, several rides, so your body can at least get back into the swing of things. So since the prior Sunday, I had not clipped in, and so I was trying to figure out how my body would respond. But at this point in the ride, I felt pretty good. You know, I'm just sitting behind Paul here, coasting and soft pedaling because we're going. This is lumpy right now. It's -1, slight downhill. And so what I was saying was, with the time off the bike, because I was just busy with other stuff, and my out the door was like, you know, like you have time to ride, but you really are not excited to get out the door. So usually when I get to that kind of point, I go and I review my.
That's what's keeping the temperatures down.
I go and I review my log to see, do I need to take a rest week? Have I been pouring it on, doing too much? And so yeah, I needed to take a break because cycling is not the only stressor you encounter. And so with the week off, I decided, okay, I would just rest and wait for Saturday's ride and ease back into it. So I'm doing a 4-day training block. 3 to 4 days. I like to do 3 or 4 day training blocks. So this is day 1. Go ahead and hand Paul the camera here. Take the lead. We have a lot of varying temperatures in our area. Spring is here, and our range goes from anywhere from 7 or 8 Celsius to 25 or 28 Celsius, which is 45 to 80 Fahrenheit. So you got to have garments that can breathe very well as keep you warm early in the ride. About the only thing I had to do on this ride was take off my arm warmers later. It warmed up quite a bit. Right now it says 18. It's nice. It's overcast. But in a few hours, the sun will break through and things will warm up dramatically. So I'm focusing on keeping the effort 2 out of 5. That's the goal. Regardless of where the heart rate drops, I mean, same effort. So I don't look at speed. So yeah, we're not going very fast. 19 kilometers an hour. You know, probably 12 or 13 miles an hour. But that's not what matters. It's the effort that matters. My body's creeping into sweet spot. Usually it should be zone 2, but with the week off, who knows? All I'm focusing on is keeping my cadence up, because this area here is very, very tricky. You don't see the grades, you feel them. So keep your eye on the grade above the Cyclist in that circle to the left. It will let you know what grades we're dealing with. And they're going on for a long time. If you take this road going to Richards, Texas, you going up the entire way. It goes from around probably 1 to 3.5%, depending on where you are. There are a few little steep bumps, but they're short. So you can get a good workout on this road. I still had not recovered from this ride when I went with the guys today, which I'm doing part of this narration, which was Sunday morning. I think Paul's shifting onto this big chain ring. He's got the camera in that hand. Now he's coming up. See, it went from 0 to 3% like that. The grades change. So you want to find a gear that you can handle. Err on the side of a smaller gear when you're not sure. See, the road's going up again. So the power range is going to be anywhere around 160 to 250. That's where it usually falls. It's going down now. I continue to shift to keep my rhythm the same. See, 3%. So you want to shift before you feel the gear kind of bogging you down. This whole time we're climbing, I have it on a small chain ring. I'm probably in a 17 or something like that. So it's like a 62 to 65 inch gear. All I focus on is making sure that gear feels right and making sure my cadence stays between 75 and about 95. Try to keep it around 85-ish to 90 as much as possible, because when you change your rhythm too much, it's very hard on the body. See, now it's 4%. So, and we know we're going to be out here for a while. We're heading towards Bethel. So you've got to be conservative in your gear selection. Level off a little bit here. Whenever I am getting off the front in this kind of terrain, I like to get off the front and give the rider behind me flat terrain or downhill so they can get into some kind of a rhythm. So when the road downshifts, when the road goes from up to down and so forth, shift, find the gear, keep your rhythm steady, avoid coasting too much. going back up. Because the only thing you control is your gearing, which controls your effort. So the road's slightly downhill. I simply use a larger ratio. And keep the effort going. Since it's just the two of us, we take longer pulls than if we were riding in a larger group. So right here, I move over after checking for traffic. It was clear at movement, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of cars coming, so I jump back on the shoulder after he gets by. And you see them going by. They give us a lot of room there. But these guys show up quickly because these roads are curvy, up and down. You know, they have hills and so forth. You can look back there, nothing's there, but in a moment, all of a sudden you'll see a bunch of cars show up. That's what happens out here. So when you're riding, you need to just assume the roads are busy. Find your spot, hold it, and try and stay safe. In fact, in probably 10 kilometers, we'll film a sign that says, "Hill blocks your view." I was like, really? Duh. Might as well put a sign that says the sun rises every morning. And we need a sign that says hill blocks your view. If you can't see, you can't see. You need to be more cautious when you're using the public utility. The reason it did that is that particular intersection has had a lot of crashes because people are careless. People going across don't check, and people that are driving on the main right of way don't slow down. So they come across people going across as they crest the hill, and they're carrying too much speed. If you're going too fast for your view or going too fast for your headlights at night, you need to slow down. You know. And that's the first thing they teach you in driver's ed. You need to be able to see. Stay within your speed. You're going too fast for what you can handle or what's reasonable. That's not very brilliant. Yeah, I'm harassing these dogs. Look at that. I was like, what you guys go for? What you working on? They're barking at us. So this air is lumpy. So what I do is I'm using the smaller ratios on my bike because I have more to pick from, like the 39, 15, and 16. They're ratios that I can't replicate on the big chainring. So they're nice to have. I'm looking for the draft. That's why you see it's getting quiet. Sometimes on his right, sometimes right behind, sometimes on the left as these roads curve. With the time off, 5 days off, and then doing this ride, there's a dog sitting over there, Paul, pointing to the left on the ground there. He's sunning himself. He did not even move. He didn't care. He wasn't interested in us. He's a mature dog. The older dogs, they don't do crazy stuff. I guess they're too smart. But what I was saying is that I had trouble recovering from this ride because of just all the activities going on at home and all other stuff. So on Sunday, I rode with Team RR. Mo and them were there. And one part of the ride, I just could not find a rhythm. You know, I was able to recover and stay with them, but it was really weird because the effort was not very hard, but it's just that my rhythm was off. It's like I threw my engine off. Those are the Team RR guys, 4 of them. That's Darren and John, the guy we call Shepusan. I found out on Sunday's ride that they broke off from the group at Taco Corner and came and did more out here. Those 4. The rest of the guys went back. From the Woodlands to Taco Corner, it's probably, what? I would say no more than 30 kilometers.
They didn't post a ride though. Yeah, I got you. So they must have just set it up.
Yeah, it's about 30 kilometers, so 18 miles on a Saturday to do 18 miles. Come on, you do that during the week.
Not of the week.
So they do 18. Let's say they do 40 round trip. I mean, it's better than nothing, but on Saturdays you got to do more hours than that. At least 3 hours. But you know, everybody's got different schedules, so the group splits up. That's everywhere. So John went and looked up Clement Champoussin, like he promised to do it. He was telling me on Sunday that he did. I thought, yeah. Yeah, he's a hard-nosed rider. So all we're trying to do here is doing strength work. You know, we're not doing muscular endurance specific workouts. Cadence is up, but the terrain enough will help you keep the effort up.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the rider.
There was a guy riding with them that we didn't recognize. That's what I'm telling Paul. The guy pulling at the time, we didn't recognize him.
Yep.
So the road's gonna go left. You can see how the directional changes are occurring here. The road is not straight. Look in the distance. Going left here, then it's gonna go right, it's gonna kick up. So as you're riding, you need to constantly search for the draft. I'm on his right now because that's probably where it is at this moment. It's not constant. That's our forest with a lot of controlled burns. You can see, I don't know if you noticed the marks on the trees, the black marks. They burned the little dried shrubbery to prevent fires in the summer. This is the Sam Houston National Forest on Highway 149. We're gonna come back on Bethel off camera. I'll go ahead and take my lead here. And I take the lead. I took it thinking the road was relatively flat, but then it's gonna kick up. And I'm gonna tell it, man, this thing. I downshift.
Yep.
What I'm telling him is that this direction on 149, I think, is a little more challenging. You have a lot of grades, long grades, and then you got a couple of lumpy bumps before you get to Bethel Road.
That's why they were exhausted last
So
time
it's
we
like,
did it.
depending on the direction you use a particular route, you can mix it up. You can have the same route and don't do it the same way every time. That's what we do out here. We use different directions to kind of change things around. Those guys that passed the other ways, they told me on Sunday that they went through on Mount Pleasant Road, which is through the forest, hidden forest drive. This is all uphill to the 1 to 3%, and then there's some steeper sections we'll come across before we get to Bethel Road. But the load is on the entire time, and then with the wind, so you have to factor that. So you get all that resistance. So you've got to select your gearing correctly. One of these areas where you feel the grade more so than seeing it all the time. I'm trying to keep the effort right around the top of zone 2, not to exceed that too much. Slightly downhill here. I shift up to keep the rhythm the same. The effort is less as we're going downhill. And since my effort was already creeping up into sweet spot, this is an opportunity for you to recover a bit and let it come back to where you really want to be. See the roads going up here. Just look at the screen. And it curves to the left. Not much. Got up to 2 there, maybe 2.5. Nice leveling off a bit. So don't be shy to shift when you're riding in lumpy, rolling terrain. That's what we call them. I love this kind of terrain. I hate just riding on a flat road. Staying a little to the right because the wind is kind of all over the place, and when I'm riding I try to gauge it to leave room on the side I think my companion should be on. You can see Paul is on my left. That's why you see me more to the right in that lane, so we can both use the shoulder comfortably. The road kicks up here. You can basically see that. It went from like 0 to 2%. And this car was going to turn, so I picked up the pace as we went through this intersection so we could get through. A lot of debris out there. All these little pieces of rocks that these trucks drop when they're carrying them. This section here is downhill. I think I'm probably on a big chain, or I'm in a larger gear ratio, so I can keep pedaling. I believe it kicks up where it curves to the right in the distance. The guy carrying panniers on his bike. The road kicks up here.
That guy carrying all those bags, man, that's a workout.
Yeah, he's traveling a long way.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got them balanced on his bike. The guy that passed that Paul is talking about. Got him on both sides of the fork. You got to balance them properly. Somebody's calling me and my phone is literally ringing.
That's an existing customer who doesn't know what shop hours are.
I told Paul, I said, I can tell by the ring that it's somebody that I know. But it's like, if you know anything, I'm riding, you know, Saturday morning, shoot. Getting to around 1%. It's leveling
I don't know
off.
how they function.
Yep.
It's leveling off a bit. This goes downhill and in the distance it kicks up. When this guy went by, I think he had cows in there. It was a smell. And then all these cars that follow him, I tell Paul, I said, man, please, I wouldn't want to be following that vehicle closely. Because that smell will come in your cabin. Unless you put on the recirc.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of cows in there. See the road kicks up, 3% already. So you can do some good workout, you know. I'm sure if you got something, you don't need the huge percentage where you can't ride. You need these to where you can build your endurance of handling hills.
You can just call whenever.
Yeah.
And you don't need to kill yourself on the hills. You just need to ride them. You know, you don't have to always be going, as the French say, in anger. I don't know if it's the French or just all cyclists. You went over that climb in anger.
Have an event to maintain the bikes.
I think Phil Liggett used to use that phrase a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. That's a sign. Hill blocks view. I'm like, really? Because they crest this hill at speed, and there's an intersection up there, and they end up having crashes out here in the middle of nowhere. They've had quite a few. That's why they put that sign up there, hill blocks view. If you can't see, somebody got to put a sign to tell you that you can't see in the distance. You can't see, you slow down. Like, duh.
Okay.
There's a car behind us. So I thought he was going to pass, so I'm watching him.
Yeah, I see it.
And he signals. I look in the mirror, I see his signal. He's going
Oh,
right.
he's coming. He just showed up. Easy.
He's going right. So he slowed down because he's going on that street on the right. And that allowed us to make our left turn.
I know I saw his signal. I just had to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he was turning, so you can turn it off. You legends, we're on the downside of this 5 hour so far ride and our base training for this week, because we had a crazy busy week. So we dropped the effort a bit. And we want to go ahead and get some clips as we approach Southbound on Springbranch Road.
We're behind the Montgomery County High School, Montgomery High School in northwestern Montgomery County. We're headed westerly right now. This is a 4% grade that looks flat. It gets there in a hurry too. Let's see here. This is gonna register. I guess we've already passed the 4% section. Yeah, we passed it. So we're gonna turn in a bit, in about probably 1,000 meters. We'll turn on Springbranch Road. I removed my arm warmers. We're almost 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. And this is Springbranch Road headed southbound. You turn and hit a bit of a bump. 4%, 3-4% as soon as you turn. Listen to that wind. We expected to get some tailwind sections. There were a few on this ride. I think on Honea, Egypt, we had a good one. And I think there's sections here where we'll get it. But here, this section is wide open. If you look to the right, there are no trees close to the road. So it's a bit blustery. So because we're not fighting as much wind as earlier in the earlier filmed sections when we're on 149, our speeds are up. It just confirms that you cannot use speed as a training metric. Effort. I'm staying to the right because the wind is blowing from the west. That's what's keeping our temperature down. And from behind us, from the north. And we're headed south. This allows Paul to be in the draft. You can see how quiet it is right there. And we're not using all of the road. It's a dog barking at us. I think I just went on the big chain ring. I've been using the smaller ring. Don't shy away from using all your gears. The smaller ring has ratios that you cannot replicate on the large chain ring. So what happens on the large chain ring, for example, 53-19 is a 39-14, which is closer to the end when you're on the small one. Well, from the 19 to the 17, usually that's a two-cog jump. So you go 19-17. Well, you can't replicate the 17 on the small chain ring. So sometimes it might be too big for the terrain you're in. So instead of being in a 53-17 on a climb or a grade and you're muscling a gear, it's better to try to go like a 39-16 or 15, you know, or even a 14. One of those gears might feel better on that climb. versus a 5319 on the big one, which is the next change lower when you're on the big chainring. I hope it makes sense what I'm explaining. There's a piece of electrical cord, one of those just heavy duty stuff. That's why I dodged with my hips. So we're moving at a good clip here. Effort is right at the top of zone 2. And this guy's like, he's not moving. I'm not sure what he's doing there. We'll see him again. He's doing something. Something's going on. The guys that are hauling dirt and rocks and stuff for a piece of property up in the distance in a curve. I had been watching him the whole time. He was just sitting there, slightly rolling. We're doing about 21. Between 20 to 21, 20 to 22 miles an hour on that stretch. That's what we're doing. So he really wasn't moving. So when I went out on Sunday's ride earlier this morning today, after this ride, I was still a bit tired. But it helped that I was in a group, so I spent most of the time sitting in. I may have taken 2 pulls, in 2.5 hours riding with them. There are 3 dogs in the yard coming up. They always race inside the fence. So you hear me cajole them and say, "Show me what you got." I'm gonna call them. They're sitting when we get here. Like, where are you?
Where are you guys? There you are. Come on. What you got? Come on.
They race each other, and sometimes you saw the other one going northbound. They race each other in a circle. They do it so much they've worn a groove in the yard. So every time we come by, if I don't hear them, I call out for them. They were chilling when we got there. As soon as I said something, they jumped up. We have not changed the effort. The terrain has changed, so the speeds are higher. The wind direction is different. The watts are going up because this road is going up. And so if you want to stay within a certain range, don't hesitate to downshift. That's what I'm doing. I'm keeping the ratios reasonable. This road is just pretty. No matter when you come here, it's like this. Paul's coming to take the lead. I will show you guys the section where I could not find a rhythm on Sunday, the day after this ride. Just sitting in the back trying to find a rhythm so I could just chill. One gear was either too low or one gear was too big. It was like, give me a break. So I kept searching for gears, and it just messes up your rhythm. And because the terrain was changing all the time while I'm looking for gears, it starts to go up. So, okay, so you got to look for another one because something has changed. So it was just something. It just threw my system off a bit. I wanted you all to get an appreciation for what this weather was doing. So yeah, we're trying to move, we got good speed going, but then the wind just picks up and it slams you and you're like, ah. Then we're gonna turn in a little bit. We're gonna turn to go eastbound. And I think the west wind was stronger today. So we've got a crosswind that's buffeting us and a tailwind that is weaker than the crosswind. But when we turn eastbound, we're gonna fly because that westerly wind really pushes us. But we're still moving at a good clip, about 22 miles an hour, 22, 23. That's that truck that we passed. And he finally decided to start driving. He's going about 1 kilometer up the road and he's gonna make a right turn into that yard. That's where all that dirt is on the road because they're moving, it looks like a lot of soil or something. So I let Paul know that he's turning so he will back off because he's closer than he appears. The camera has a wide angle. I let him know, oh yeah, he knew we were moving. That's what I told him. He knows we're moving. And we've turned, that westerly wind is pushing us. You can see 40K on the flat road. Now it's gonna descend. And I think we'll approach almost 30, 31 miles an hour. So it's kind of nice to enjoy all that speed while staying in the middle of zone 2, like 52K. You know, we're in the 30s, 31 to 32 miles an hour thereabout. So now it's gonna slow down because this road drops down and then starts kicking up from here to the highway. This is the section where on Sunday, Jesus was pulling and I just couldn't find a rhythm. I was looking for gear, standing, doing all kinds of stuff. Wasted a lot of energy. You know? The ride was advertised on Sunday as a recovery ride. Of course, you're not going to recover in a group. These guys don't stick to it. So we joked about it, like some recovery ride. But you know, it wasn't bad. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't that fast. It's just with my schedule, second day back, you don't know what your body's really gonna do. Right here, this road start kicking up. So from here to the highway, it kicks up. The key is to focus on your rhythm. You know, you've probably experienced it where you're riding really fast on a flat road, you come to a hill and it's almost like you can't get a rhythm. You know what I mean? You get into the hill and you're like, man, you just feel like you slowed way down. In those situations, either stand, because the rhythm has changed completely, either stand or use a gear that will give you a similar cadence to what you were doing on the flat road until your body acclimates to the change in terrain. Because sometimes like it throws you off and you can't find a rhythm. You can stand and just let your cadence drop a little bit, you know, maybe 5 to 10 RPM from what you were doing on the road, or downshift till you find the gear that will allow you to do close to your cadence, especially on the long climb. The short ones you can stand and muscle your way over it. All I'm doing here is just keeping the rhythm, tapping out the rhythm. Downshift. So my cadence goes up. Keeps your legs supple. We've got a lot of wind from the north, because this is not going exactly east anymore. It's turning a little northbound, kind of northeasterly. So when you're in a situation where the wind is buffeting you, you've got a great air on the side of a gear you can stay on top
On our
of.
favorite road, Honea Egypt Road.
Wrapping up this awesome ride.
We're on Honea Egypt Road. We went through the neighborhoods and now we're going to be heading south. And the wind has shifted to more out of the south than the west. And even if it is from the west, there's a lot of protected area. You see those trees up there on the right on this road. So we figure this north wind will push us home. This road goes mostly south or southeast. Easing into it. Just trying not to get too excited. Still staying within the range, because at the end, at that bump, we might not be able to control it that much. try to stay low, get some free speed. Plus it just feels good anyway. There's a lot of imperfections in the pavement here, and I'm gonna stay on the right because they got that ridge in this curve. You gotta try to dodge those reflectors that they put in the pavement. And then part of the new pavement, that's why I'm telling Paul, there's a lip there. So I stop and I don't stand up, I just transfer my weight to my feet. Let the bike go over them comfortably. You can hear the wind. It's coming from the right in this section here. Once we get between those trees it lessens. That's the westerly flow. I've got my arms resting, I believe. Am I in the drops? I think I'm in the drops. Yes, I am in the drops. Because I just looked lower than normal. Yeah, now I'm resting my forearm on the side of the bar and holding the brake hoods. I brought my brake hoods in to allow me to do that. It's a nice position. Very aero, very comfortable. And if you set up correctly, you're very powerful. The whole time I'm thinking about the last climb, so you can't just let it rip. Even though we're in endurance zone, you can see heart rate's creeping up. So when you stay on the power that long with the wind and the undulations, the body's doing different things to accommodate. You got to listen to yourself, listen to your body. You ride the edge to avoid that washboard area there. It's uncomfortable. I did it on Sunday in a group of about probably 8 or 9 riders. It's a lot harder because you're following another rider. You can't really see the line. But I've done it so many times, I kind of knew where all the reflectors were, and I was dodging them at the last minute. It was cool to do. It was fun. This was after I had my spot of bother and I was feeling better. It was slowing down, so I stood up, keep the gear rolling. But I believe the grade kind of starts around here. I mean, I register, but I can feel it. Just even looking at the film, the grade is starting. Yep, it's at 1%. It's not flat there. I've already put that in a small chain ring, and I'm all the way down the cluster. I did that without breaking my rhythm. I'm gonna stay to the right so Paul can stay on my side. Because, you know, we're climbing at slower speed so these guys can go by. And this is what I was talking about. We've been riding in moderate terrain, we come to this one where it hits like 6% plus, you know, and it just feels different. So yeah, we've crested the steepest pitch, but you can see it still says 2%. So if you had gone too hard back there, you'd really be struggling here. And sometimes this is what Mo was talking about on Sunday when I rode with them and we came on this same road. He said, oh, everybody behave themselves. Because sometimes people will go out of early or when we get to this point. So you got 1 to 2%, that's what's going on. And people will push up here. So if you don't have anything left, you get gapped. So it's a different kind of rhythm. It's hard to get from the flats into the hills, so you got to practice that. So by pacing yourself, once the road kind of levels up, you still have something left. I think I'm going to get on the big chain ring. I don't know if I haven't already. I've practiced doing that to where it doesn't change my rhythm. So you can see how steadily I kept the effort. That's what matters. Speed is just a byproduct of your effort and the environment. Don't get attached to it. I check for traffic and let Paul know it's clear. That guy was behind us on Honea, Egypt, the one that tapped his horn. We're in town. Of course, the volume of cars are up. So I don't know what you did this Saturday, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. Remember, no matter what, get your K's in and keep those doctors far. We're gonna do a little loop-de-loop over there to go across this intersection because it was so busy we couldn't get in the left turn lane. So we turn here and go across when it turns green.
See that place called T-Bear?
Yeah.
Never heard of it
There's a
before.
tea shop in a lot over there. I just noticed and told Paul about it.